On June 22, 2026, two Filipino teenagers armed with guns walked into a high school in Tacloban City and opened fire. 3 students were killed and 20 others injured. The suspected motive: bullying, a persistent and widespread problem in the Philippines.
We're still known as the bullying capital of the world.
More than a decade after the Anti-Bullying Act was passed, the Philippines still has one of the highest reported rates of bullying in Asia.
Yeah, conscious kami na nambubuli kami, pero para sa amin kasi cool yun nung time na yun. Kung hindi ikaw yung predator, ikaw yung magiging prey.
Why is bullying still so common in the Philippines? And what will it take to change that?
Mas lalo ko na palayo sa tao and hindi ko na alam yung value ng tao.
In the northwest region of Metro Manila, 16-year-old Lara lives with her family. We are not using her real name in order to protect her identity.
We're just a simple family, and my mama is street sweeper. Then my papa was a welder, and I have 2 siblings, and I was a middle child.
Lara herself used to attend a public school nearby.
Nung grade 8 po kasi yung pinakamasayang school year ko dun. Yes, totoo naman na yung pressure sa ACADS. Achiever po ako nun. But ang nagustuhan ko po din yung dami kong naging kaibigan.
However, things change in grade 9, the 3rd year of junior high school, where most students are around 14 or 15. During one of her classes, Lara was assigned a group project.
3D po yung ginawa naming bahay. Hindi po siya basta bahay lang. And we design it like, parang dream, parang dream na, basta, dinesign na namin siya ng todo-todo. Proud ko po siyang pinasa nun. Kasi pinaghirapan namin yun. Tsaka iniisip ko din na, feeling ko deserving naman namin yun, yung grade na makukuha namin.
After submission, Lara left her project at the back of the class. When she was not looking, a classmate struck.
Tumalon po siya doon. Tapos, yung iba naman namin kaklase, something like that, pinagtatalunan din nila, then binagsakan daw po ng bangko. Nagtaka ako sa part na, bakit yung project lang namin yung sira? Tapos yung sa iba po, okay naman siya. Tapos na-disappoint po ako noon. Kasi siguro days namin siyang ginawa ng halos walang tulugan.
Upset, Lara later missed a day of school. When she returned, Lara found out her classmate continued to belittle her during her absence.
Minamak niya yung emotion ko, like sabi niya, ipapag-guidance ko kayong ganun. Gumaganon po siya. Sabi ko, ganon. Kasi I felt really disappointed on that time.
Around 1 in 2 15-year-old students in the Philippines report being bullied at least a few times a month, more than double the OECD average. And while bullying is an urgent issue across Southeast Asia, Filipino kids may be suffering more than most. In the 2024 survey of 6 Southeast Asian countries, the Philippines came out on top, with teachers reporting that half of the students have experienced bullying.
Bullying is all about power. It's power over another. So by definition, bullying or a bully is a person who repeatedly harms, insults another person whom he perceives as weaker than he is.
This would be involving persistent, so that means it's repeated behaviors that may be physical, psychological, may be social in nature.
A Philippine study in 2024 of children aged 15 to 18 found verbal abuse to be the most common form of bullying, followed by emotional and physical abuse.
Physical is the most obvious, when you push your classmate, when you throw something at your classmate. Verbal would be making fun, saying harmful words towards your classmates. And then emotional, social would be kind of in the same space, when you try to intentionally avoid the person, you ostracize the person, you exclude the student from your group in a way that is very obviously trying to ostracize the person.
Parents and even teachers, think that physical bullying is worse than emotional. That is so because physical bullying is visible and you can see it happening, just looking at it. But emotional bullying is probably the deepest, most damaging kind of bullying for young people. Because emotional bullying, first of all, is not obvious, and then it's not violent or anything like that, but it goes really deep into the system of the person being bullied.
Studies show that victims of bullying suffer blows to their mental health. One Philippine study found nearly 17% of bullying victims had suicidal ideations or thoughts.
Bullying is associated with depression symptoms, different forms of chronic anxiety.
There will be a change in behavior from maybe of confidence. The child who's confident will become less confident, will be shy, or they lack self-confidence, and they seem to be like their body is like looking down, not like this,
As important as what bullying is also where it takes place. On social media platforms, bullying is able to extend beyond the school environment. One survey by a children's rights non-profit found that 80% of teenagers aged 13 to 16 have been cyberbullied through social media.
Cyberbullying is any acts of harassment, humiliation, and threatening towards somebody that uses internet and communications platforms. You have your messengers, you have your text messages, you have your social media pages. The humiliation exponentially grows, the threat expands to a lot of people. So with offline bullying, there are safe spaces that we can run to. We can always find comfort at home. But when it comes to cyberbullying, the internet space is borderless. There's no place to hide in the internet.
And here may be a clue on why bullying rates in the Philippines are so high. Social media is where Filipino youths spend a lot of their time. A 2025 study found that Filipino youth average 3 hours 22 minutes online per day, among the highest in the world.
Right now, I think it's the center of their universe, to be honest. All their interests are based off of what's new on social media, what's trending. All their interests, all their needs and wants, and their idols are now not movie stars, but influencers on social media.
The impact of online bullying is very different from the impact of physical bullying because it is something that it is known by many people. In 1 minute, everybody knows it. You cannot take it back.
Cyberbullies are also aided by online anonymity.
These threat actors, these bullies gain much confidence, and they're so brazen right now because they have this idea that they won't get caught, and they try to exploit that, and that anonymity provides them with the confidence that I can do anything because they won't catch me. So I think it's a big factor why online bullying is so pervasive right now.
After her project was destroyed, Lara continued to be bullied, but in a different way.
As I know, ayun lang po kasing project na pinagawa ni ma'am. Nung una nga po, inisip ko kung sino pinapatamaan niya ako. So hanggang sa na-realize ko na ako yung nun.
The bullying continued for 2 years, and like many young victims, Lara struggled to process what was happening to her.
Mas lalo ko napalayo sa tao, and yes, nakikisama ako, but hindi ko na po alam parang hindi ko na alam yung value ng tao. Parang iniisip ko na mas deserving nilang mamatay. And deserving nila yon, mamatay na lahat ng tao sa earth. Kasi what if nangyari sa kanila yun, di ba?
Even with the high incidence of bullying in the Philippines, the problem may be underreported.
We believe that this is the case because many schools report 0 cases. So in the past, there was a perception that if you had bullying cases in your school, then your school was low performing. Principals perceived that if I say that my school has bullying cases, it would affect the standing of my school, the kind of budget I would receive. So they would just not report the cases.
The numbers tell us bullying in the Philippines is worse than most of Southeast Asia, but they don't explain why. No child is born a bully. So where does it start?
Siguro kung hindi ko na-experience yung pagmamahal at yung grasya, yung kapatawaran ni Jesus, siguro worst case, nakakulong ako or patay na ako ngayon. Kasi ganun talaga yung buhay na kinalakihan ko. Pinanganak ako sa Sampaloc area, Manila. Yung street kasi or yung lugar na kinalakihan ko, hindi bago yung bullying Makakita ka everyday ng mga bata na binubugbog ng mga kalaro niya, ng mga mas malaki sa kanya. For me, hindi bago yun. May mga times din na yung mga mas matatanda sa amin, di ba? Parang binubully rin kami, parang ganyan, inutusan kami, or parang binabatok-batukan. So, nung kami naman yung nasa age na nung mga nambubully, same, ganun din ginagawa namin sa mga mas bata sa amin.
There is a lot of research that shows that bullies are often victims of bullying themselves. Maybe not in the school, but in the family or in their community.
Gerald grew up in a religious household and describes himself as the black sheep of the family.
Makulit talaga ako. As in, sakit ako ng ulo sa bahay namin. Nagkaroon na ng mga computer shops, ganyan. Parang na-addict ako sa computer games. Siyempre, para makapaglaro ka doon, kailangan mo ng pera. Wala naman akong pera nun. So, nangungupit ako sa nanay ko nun. Napapalo din talaga ako, nadidisiplina.
Many studies found that children who are hit are more likely to develop aggression, depression, and long-term mental health problems. They're also more likely to bully others or use violence to resolve conflict. In 2022, UNICEF found that nearly 40% of children under the age of 15 were subjected to physical punishment. Supporting marginalized women and children is Christina Sevilla, a human rights lawyer and founder of Action Against Violence and Exploitation, or ACTIV.
Corporal punishment can have negative impacts on the child. It's normalizing really violence, physically harming someone. So when you connect this to bullying, if corporal disciplining is normalized within a home, it's possible that when children interact, socialize, then they adapt the same culture, the same approach, the same way. Because it's really all about social and emotional conditioning.
The parent is always a model. The child absorbs what you're doing, who you are, your values, etc. One of the effects we have found is that the child also becomes aggressive and hurts others. The child can become very angry inside, keeps that anger, and can come out with temper tantrums.
Children also mirror what they see in society. The Philippines struggles with a culture where violence can feel normal, from drug war killings to election-related attacks. In the 2025 midterm elections alone, at least 42 documented political attacks left more than 30 people dead.
So there are some pockets in our community which can legitimize certain forms of violence and see that it is justified. I don't think we can be confident in saying that their violence is not a normal part of Philippine society.
Nakikita ng mga bata na araw-araw po silang binubuli ng mga nasa kinaukulan na dapat nagbibigay ng suporta sa kanila. So, nagiging normal corruption and graft or whatsoever. Bullying siya dahil nananakaw yung kinabukasan ng mga bata, ng mga pwedeng pamilya, ng mga makikinabang.
For Gerald, things escalated in high school.
Meron akong kaklase, he was trying to bully me. Binabatukan niya ako, sinuntok niya ako. Dun sa time na yun, parang nag-decide ako na hindi pwede. Parang hindi ako pwedeng ako yung nasa bully side, binubully na side. So I stood up and then sinuntok ko din siya. Nangyari yun, parang naano yung confidence ko din sa sarili ko na parang dito ako sa side na to. Para siyang naging, kung hindi ikaw yung predator, ikaw yung magiging prey. Conscious kami na nambubully kami, pero para sa amin kasi cool yun eh. And then eventually, second year, third year, sumali ako ng gang kasi sa lugar namin nun, uso talaga yung mga gang.
In the Philippines, some schools and communities struggle with gang-related violence, especially in urban areas. Studies say minors are driven to join gangs because of poverty, lack of schooling or employment options, and peer pressure. Authorities have also said bullying others is a part of the process of joining a gang. In college, Gerald tried to change, but old habits die hard.
Tapos doon ko nakilala si Julian. Si Julian kasi, lower year siya sa akin, so senior niya ako. And for us, si Julian kasi, easy target siya eh. Yung typical na may pagka-nerd kasi siya, tapos hindi siya lumalaban talaga. May times na si Julian, pinapahiya talaga namin siya. Nagsasabi kami ng mga mean words to him. Lagi namin siyang ginagawang joke.
In the Philippines, there is this idea that teasing or bullying behavior is regarded as harmless fun. The concept is known as kanchawan.
One way of showing affection among Filipinos is by, sometimes even saying mean things. No? So I think it is not unusual for best friends, for example, to tease each other.
Another cultural concept is away bata, or roughly translated as children's fight.
Kids fight normally. They don't agree or somebody pushes someone. That's normal. Especially they're boys. They have to learn to fight. They should not just be weak and allow themselves to be bullied. In fact, that's just a common thing. Away bata is different from bullying. There's a nuance that's different there because kids can fight, that's normal. Siblings fight, and they're equally powerful in their fighting and but when you see that one is teasing or hitting or bullying the other and the other one is feeling very, very hurt, that is different.
It's a very thin line there where behaviors can be benign when there are trusting relationships, friendly, empathetic relationships. But in anonymous environments, in big high schools, these behaviors push you away, make you feel like I don't belong, they don't want me here. And that's causing a lot of psychological harm.
As Gerald recalls, he considers his treatment of Julian as kanchawan, but his victim felt differently.
Naalala ko may time na trip lang namin, parang yung bag niya, binuksan namin, tas lahat ng gamit niya, kinalat namin across the corridor. Ewan ko saan siya pumunta nun. Pagbalik niya, nakita niya nakakalat lahat ng gamit niya. And yun yung time na parang nakita ko talaga siya, umiyak siya. Wala akong nafe-feel na any remorse or parang guilt. Kasi for me, bro, ikaw yan parang yan yung role mo. Kumbaga role mo sa food chain. Nandiyan ka. Ikaw yung dapat binubuli.
The classic definitions of bullying also emphasize the power dynamic. It's someone with more power being aggressive towards someone with less power.
If there's a person who's angry and always enraged, bullying is just the cover-up to stop himself or herself from being connected to that dark, vulnerable, helpless, powerless space. So rage is the opposite of inner power. People who are empowered do not necessarily bully. The people who are not empowered will be more likely to be bullying someone who is weaker, smaller than they are.
Just after graduating college, Gerald got into a relationship, one that he really treasured, but it didn't work out.
Yung relationship ko nung time na yun, which is for me, yun yung naging center of my world. Parang dun umikot talaga yung mundo ko. Inalis yun ng Lord. So parang broken-hearted talaga ako nung time na yun. And then, yun nga, parang na-realize ko na sobrang sinful ko na tao. Parang nag-flashback sa akin lahat ng kasalanan na ginawa ko. And I was crying for help.
With the help of his sister who invited him to church, Gerald slowly changed. It was during this time that he reached out to Julian on social media.
Minessage ko sabi ko, Julian, bro, I know hindi ako naging mabuting kaibigan sa'yo before, hindi ako naging mabuting senior sa'yo. I want to say sorry sa mga nagawa ko sa'yo before. Kung ano man yung mga na-cause nun or ano naging impact sa'yo nun. And then, yung reply niya, nakakatawa kasi for him, nakalimutan niya na talaga. So parang okay naman siya. Ang mas nag-heal tingin ko ako eh. Kasi parang nakapag-sorry ako sa kanya. After nung transformation nga na nangyari sa akin.
Julian eventually joined the same church as Gerald, and the two got closer through their Bible study group. Last year, Julian got married and wanted Gerald to be at his wedding.
Sabi niya, pwede daw bang ako yung maging best man niya sa wedding niya. Ang reaction ko talaga, hindi ko deserve eh. Parang, sino ba ako sa buhay niya before? Tapos ngayon, ako pa rin yung naisip niyang best man. So parang, hindi ko deserve. Pero syempre, sobrang honored ako. So tinanggap ko yun. And yun, actually itong watch, regalo niya to. Regalo ni Julian to, suot ko na watch ngayon.
The family and the culture shape the bully. But what happens when that child walks through the school gate? This is Batasan Hills National High School in Quezon City. By its own count, it's one of the largest schools in the country. Last year, close to 15,800 students.
Ano po?
Here, Benedict Sularan teaches values education.
Gabay at support.
5 years ago, he took on another role as a guidance advocate addressing bullying complaints.
So sa isang araw, papasok ako mag-i-in. Minsan may mga case na. So as much as possible, kung kaya ko nang i-resolve yun, nang within siguro 1 to 2 hours, i-resolve na natin. After 2 hours, magtuturo ako. Then may break akong 20 minutes, next subject na ulit or next section na ulit.
In 2025, a nationwide survey found that schools were the primary setting for where bullying happens. Nearly 80% of victims of physical bullying reported that they were bullied within educational institutions. One challenge is how crowded classrooms are.
Sa loob ng classroom ko, nagre-ratio po yung population natin ng 48 to 52. So yun yung average attendance. Mag-research. Bakit? Bakit
In the Philippines, the average class size is 50 pupils. This is much higher than places like Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei, where the average class sizes are around 30 to 35.
Teachers in big classes really suffer from trying to supervise that amount of students. The teacher can't have their eyes on every student. So many things, like subtle forms of bullying, go unnoticed.
Generally, there are two main types of basic education schools in the Philippines. Private schools charge tuition and other fees and typically sell families who are able to pay. Public schools are government-funded and provide tuition-free basic education. They serve students from a wide range of social-economic backgrounds. These are where the majority of Filipino children are educated, but differences can sometimes become a source of teasing, exclusion, or bullying.
Doon po sa setup ng classroom, meron po tayong students na part ng LGBT, may part ng yung regular students. May mga iilan lang naman po na meron ding special needs. Kahit nga lang sa isang student kung alamin mo yung kanyang mental capacity, medyo challenge na. What if kung 50 pa yun?
With young people, when you're different, then you're a target. Even if you speak with a different accent, you're targeted. You're too tall, you're too short, you're too thin, you're too fat. Everyone is targeted.
In Manila, 24-year-old RJ Reyes is a young civil servant and former student leader. Growing up, she knew she was different from an early age.
I started to realize that I'm a transgender woman when I was 14 years old. I was in first year high school back then. It's a little by little process. I started wearing square pants first and then trying to wear sandals, and then I think after a week or after a month I tried wearing blouse, like still discreet blouse. A group of my girl classmates will be the one who will put makeup on me during our free time, during recess or during lunch breaks.
Today, RJ is an anti-bullying advocate. Interestingly, her own experiences of bullying did not come from her peers.
Most of my bullying experience happened when I was transitioning from junior high school to senior high school. First day of classes, I'm wearing blouse, I have long hair, I'm wearing makeups, I'm wearing heels. And I remember back then that the first issue was, why was he allowed to wear that? The person misgendering me in that situation was a teacher.
A 2024 survey found that nearly 3/4 of LGBTQ+ young people in the Philippines reported that they had been discriminated against due to their sexual orientation or gender identity.
I would also never forget that one incident. It's a national event of the Department of Education. And there's this high-ranking official from our region who said that, oh, you can't be with the girls. You are a man and you have to stay with the boys. And I filed a complaint against that person, and that person was removed from his position.
Getting victims to come forward is another challenge. One survey found that more than half of the victims chose to ignore the bullying. Experts say one reason may be the Filipino cultural concept of hiya, or shame.
Basically, hiya means shame. So you don't want to kind of upset the hierarchy, or some part of it is you don't want to disturb the harmony, right? So the tendency of that is for you to make bullying less visible and underreported.
Takot din na mapahiya kasi may mga times na feeling nila na nasisingle out sila dahil nga ayun, nagsusumbong or whatsoever. Parang lalabas dun sa mga taong nakapalibot sa kanila na yun nga, na sumbongero sila, ganun, tattletale. Yan.
The hiya also prevents them to even speaking about themselves to a person whom they don't know, who's not a member of the family, and who is kind of an authority for a person who's not part of my life.
Siguro na lang din po yung nangyari. Natakot na lang din po ako lalo sa crowd. Sorry po.
Takot ka sa parang perception ng tao.
Opo.
But when a bullying incident does get reported, schools must respond. This is mandated under the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013. Which required schools to have policies and procedures for addressing bullying.
So when a bullying case is reported, the first responsibility of the school is to ensure the safety of the learners involved. Secondly, it has to be elevated to the guidance designate. So if a teacher, for example, receives the report, she then has to bring it up to either their school head or their guidance designate.
In many schools, a guidance counselor is among the first to respond to bullying cases. But there are only 4,069 licensed guidance counselors nationwide. According to a congressional commission, the Philippines would need more than 50,000 counselors to reach the widely used benchmark of one counselor for every 250 students.
In the Philippines, to get a guidance counselor license, you have to have a master's degree in guidance counseling. Not all regions offer a master's degree in guidance counseling. So many of potential guidance counselors would have to relocate or conduct their studies online just to be able to get the degree.
Salaries for counselors in public schools are also considered low. Starting salaries are around 30,000 pesos or $488 a month. This is similar to the starting pay of teachers.
You cannot have a policy where you want a competent counselor and you require a master's degree holder. But then again, the salary is entry level. It's not realistic.
Many schools do not have a licensed guidance counselor. In their absence, schools often assign teachers as guidance designates, taking on the duties alongside their teaching workload.
I taught in a public school for 2.5 years. We didn't have a guidance counselor, we had a guidance teacher. She was also our registrar, she was also our grade 6 English teacher, and she was also a class advisor.
May mga times lang na exhausting kasi na-absorb mo yung mga problems ng mga bata, yung mga struggles nila sa bahay. Outside the school naman po, napapakaasawa tayo dun sa asawa ko. Minsan may mga sleepless nights tayo kasi hindi maiiwasan na may mga kaso kang madadala sa bahay, especially pag may mga parents na minsan hindi nauunawaan na yung ginagawa mo ay para din sa anak nila.
In Laura's case, she had requested to see a guidance counselor after her bullying incident, but her teacher dissuaded her.
Ang sabi lang po ni ma'am doon is, kung wala daw pong pruweba na ginawa nila yon personally, parang hindi po siya valid kasi wala naman daw po akong proof kung sino yung gumawa nun. Sincere na question, something like that, kung ano nararamdaman ko, okay lang ba ako, something like that. Pero wala po eh.
There's a lot of paperwork, of course. You have to go through process, and you have to get witnesses. You have to have a committee where parents are represented, the community is represented, students. It's a very resource-intensive type of activity. So what principals probably try to do, we've seen this in some cases, is to try to resolve it in some other way. In some cases, the students might feel it's being dismissed or not addressed.
Schools are overwhelmed and students don't trust the policies meant to protect them. So, what will it take to stamp out bullying in the Philippines?
Tumatawag yung mama ko na nasa trabaho ako. Yung anak mo hindi na naman pumasok. Sabi ko, bakit? Hindi nga yung kinausap ko siya. Ayaw na daw niya mag-aral. Sabi ko, bakit? Ayaw naman niya sabihin kasi natatakot siya. Tapos ang tagal-tagal niya po, halos umiyak na po siya. Binubuli lang po ako mama sa school.
Anna is using an alias to protect the identity of her child. She lives in a poor neighborhood in the northwest region of Metro Manila. A canteen worker and mother to 6 children, she struggles to make ends meet.
Hirap ang buhay ngayon sa sobrang mahal ng bilihin. Kahit papaano, nakakatulong naman po yung kinikita ko, pambili ng gatas, diaper, pagkain namin sa pang-araw-araw.
However, it is her 19-year-old daughter that she worries about the most.
19 years old na siya, nasa grade 10 pa din siya hanggang ngayon. Bakit ganong grade pa lang siya? Kasi nga po patigil-tigil siya ng pag-aaral niya. Gawa nga dun sa pambubuli. Tinutukso po siya yung about nga po sa art. Lalagi siyang pinagtatawanan. Kesyo hindi daw siya marunong magbasa.
Bullying doesn't just affect individuals. It has wider social and economic consequences. Research has linked it to poorer educational outcomes, increased mental health challenges, and lower productivity and earnings later in life.
What we're seeing is that if you are bullied, you are more likely to drop out from school or to have lower cognitive scores. So it has huge human capital implications. The annual cost is around 10 to 20 billion productivity loss because of bullying. So it has huge economic implications.
In Anna's case, she tried taking up the issue with the school.
Ang sabi po ng teacher niya, huwag po kayong mag-alala mga pagsasabihan ko po. Sabi ko, lagi na lang pong ganun. Wala po ba kayong pwedeng way magawa po ng paraan niya para matigil na po yung pambubuli? Meron naman, tinawag nila yung mga bata na nambubuli, pinaharap sa akin. Hingi lang po sila ng sorry sa akin. Tapos sinabihan ko po, sana wag nyo nang ulitin. Paano kung sa inyo mangyari yan? Yun nga, 1 linggo lang, pinaparamdam sa anak ko na hindi siya mabuli. After that, ayun na naman, binubuli na naman siya.
Little happened after that one meeting with the teacher. No follow-ups, no offer to see the school's guidance counselor. Bullying has long been a concern in the Philippines. The Anti-Bullying Act of 2013 requires schools to have policies to prevent bullying and respond when incidents occur. But implementation remains a challenge. Between November 2022 and July 2024, just 11% of reported cases were resolved, according to government data. In a response to Insight, the Department of Education said that it's crafting a framework which will keep track of compliance to existing laws, rules, and procedures at all governance levels. The department is also incentivizing schools to accurately report bullying cases by including in school effectiveness measures the number of bullying cases resolved.
Enforcement, it's not being felt. That's why you have schools who are not compliant.
Since the Anti-Bullying Act was passed in 2013, the number of reported bullying cases instead rose substantially. Though it's unclear if this is due to an increase in bullying itself or simply better awareness and reporting. In 2025, the government updated the Anti-Bullying Act with revised implementing rules and regulations. Schools are now required to follow a standard anti-bullying policy with clearer steps for reporting and responding to cases. But making sure those rules are followed consistently is still a challenge.
They've tried to streamline the reporting process. There are now forms. They can even be done online. I think it's a more rational target for schools to try to reduce bullying or to implement anti-bullying policies than simply reporting zero bullying, which may be fake in the case of many schools.
There are so many unresolved cases because there are no people on the ground. There are no people who will do it.
In some of the schools that we have encountered, many of them really did not have an anti-bullying policy. If they do have, it's usually just a copy-paste of the law. And so the mandate of localized anti-bullying policy has not really been implemented.
But there have been efforts on the ground. At Batasan Hills National High School, QR codes have been posted around the school to allow students to report bullying anonymously. The school is also tapping on the power of peer relations.
Ang ginawa po natin, lahat ng classroom president and sergeant at arms ng classroom, meron po silang, binigyan po natin sila ng platform wherein they can, pwedeng directly na report doon or mag-mention ng bullying case yung isang classmate, then i-relay po sa anti-bullying club. Kasi minsan nahihiya sila sa teacher. So with that po, yun po yung parang naging effort natin. Sa gayon parang mas ma-intensify pa at mas ma-encourage pa yung mga student.
In 2023, lawmakers proposed a new law to tackle cyberbullying against children. It will introduce tougher penalties and require online platforms to take down harmful content. But more than 2 years later, the bill is still pending in Congress. So, what's holding it back?
Because technology takes over. The technology is advancing at a rapid pace that the problem we're trying to address now becomes obsolete whenever we come up with a policy. So I do believe whenever we come to discuss and try to craft laws, it should be flexible enough to address the advancement of technology.
Now, a new technology could change the face of online bullying: artificial intelligence. In a 2026 study across 11 countries, UNICEF, ECPAT and Interpol found that at least 1.2 million children reported having their images altered into sexually explicit AI deepfakes in the previous year.
They can use AI to profile someone, get the dirt on them, profile their families, profile their work. The smallest details they can amplify. Second of it, AI now is being used to generate deepfakes, videos, photos, voice messages that are so realistic. They would add to the credibility, the narrative of the bullies against a particular person.
The government is also putting more pressure on social media companies to do their part to strengthen protections for children online. They're also considering following countries like Australia by setting a minimum age of 16 for social media. For now, though, these proposals are still being debated in Congress.
I think we're one of the biggest markets for Facebook, we're one of the biggest markets for TikTok and the gaming platforms. They're doing business here, yet they have no offices here. So whenever a court decides something or issues a subpoena to get some evidences from these platforms, guess what? We have to go to Singapore, we have to go to the United States. So critical to that is we have to get that jurisdiction over these platforms, and rightfully so.
In January 2026, the Philippines passed its largest education budget yet. A record 1.34 trillion pesos, or around $21.7 billion, a nearly 30% increase from the previous year. It sets aside 2 billion pesos for the hiring of 10,000 school counselor associates. Funds have also been allocated to build 24,000 new classrooms in 2026, compared with around 5,000 to 6,000 in a typical year. More classrooms means smaller class sizes and better supervision.
I think addressing bullying cases has to be focused on building real learner support systems on the ground through empowering them, giving them more funding, more personnel, enticing professionals, mental health professionals, guidance counselors to take up the burden of education on the ground.
At the same time, the home environment matters too. According to UNICEF, many Filipino families face challenges that affect children's care and well-being. There are around 15 million single-parent households in the Philippines. Some 2 million Filipinos work overseas, separating parents from their children, who may be cared for by other relatives for extended periods.
It's not normal because it's the mothers who have to leave the home. So what they're saying is na walang ilaw ng tahanan, the light, literally, the light of the home is gone. That's what the children said to describe. We're so sad, so pervasive sadness.
In some cases, corporal punishment becomes a shortcut for parental discipline, which critics say can lead to bullying behavior.
But parents say, if you spare the rod and spoil the child, right? That's also very common. So what's wrong with spanking? One of the effects that we have found is that the child also becomes aggressive and hurts others. You don't punish because you're angry, okay? You punish to teach them because you care for them.
For Anna, she eventually made a painful decision. She agreed to allow her daughter to drop out of school and move to another province.
Kailangan kong tanggapin na mawalay siya sa akin, kahit masakit. Much better naman na nandun siya ngayon. Kasi panatag na yung loob ko. Hindi na siya mabubuli, wala nang bullying dun. Sana next year maisipan niya nang ulit pumasok ng paaralan. Kahit tapusin niya lang yung grade 10. Okay na sa akin yun, masaya na ako.
As for Lara, a change of school has made all the difference.
Nakatulong naman po siya kasi excited ako. Sabi ko sa old classmate ko, nakaklase ko po siya ngayon sa new school ko. Sabi ko, pagod na ako maging tahimik and pagod na akong manood. Siguro it's time to shine na ako naman.